Good afternoon and welcome to Boom Markets Talk Show. This is your host Rian Hobson, and we're doing actually today's show, which is about the Kiwi dollar that's getting a bit of a hemorrhage, and also the Australian dollar that's following the same path. The Asian session actually this morning was actually down with about 2% this morning. That is now all to do with this whole entire crackdown, but I will cover that. And then lastly, we will look at the retail sales of the United States, and that news will be announced at 2:30 p.m. South African time. But the big thing is, will that news be a surprise at 2:30?
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Welcome back to Bull Markets Talk Show. This is your host, Rian Hobson, and thanks a lot for Markets.com, which is our official sponsor. And please don't forget to register on the link below in the description, and then you can register a free account and also get a training with me, and you can sit with me in class and also trade with me with your $250 account, which I will display, which is in the red, actually, as we currently are trading. But first of all, let me first cover the whole story of Australia. Now, there's expect to be a rate decision tomorrow with Australia, where they will actually raise the interest rates tomorrow by a 0.2% to 0.5%. That is what the market is actually expecting. But there is a bit of a setback to that. The market was literally pricing in this whole entire rate hike, but now it actually came down. Now, something happened this morning where the Prime Minister of Australia announced that there was actually a positive case of the Delta variant in New Zealand, and that they will go into a level 4 lockdown. Now, that actually pushed the whole thing a bit back for the Australians to raise the interest rates tomorrow. Now, there's also actually a very interesting article. I will just actually cover the headlines for you. There it is. It's about the rate decision of Australia, and I will also the rate decision of New Zealand, and I will also cover the rate decision of Australia for you. That also happened this morning. Now, the whole thing is that the Delta hinder plans for the RBA, which is the Reserve Bank of Australia, to taper, and highlights the fragility of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand tightening cycle. So that whole thing actually disrupts the tightening cycle of New Zealand. Also, at the same time, Australia was about to actually talking about tapering this morning, and how will they go about the tapering cycle. Now, there is a bit of pressure on Australia, or the Reserve Bank of Australia, not to continue with tapering, because they also experience lockdowns there. Now, that is actually the problems that New Zealand and Australia is facing. Now, the thing is, I did not open up any trades when it comes to actually New Zealand and Australia. I'm just actually going back to my to share the screen. I did not open actually any trades when it gets to Australia and New Zealand. Australia I did, but not on New Zealand because of doubt of that interest rate hike decision tomorrow. Now, you could get a different story for New Zealand tomorrow. I was just thinking maybe they will. Look, it looks nicely for sale there, but it looks likely that New Zealand might stay on the course of raising the interest rates, and also say when will maybe they will raise interest rates again as the year progresses. Now, a few weeks back, New Zealand sounds actually very hawkish, and due to the lockdown, they might actually change the path. Now, there was one positive case, so you have to think like one positive case will that disrupt the whole plans for the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. So that's why I was a bit I'm not sure about New Zealand, but Australia on the other side of yesterday, I actually went in a bit late. I was pissed off with myself. But there was actually some pressure on Australia. One was the one of Asia, where the Asian market was down by 2%, especially the Chinese market was down by 2%. And then the Reserve Bank of Australia actually went down further tapering. So that's why I was actually trading up and just leaving it as it is. So that was the trade that I took this morning, and you see I'm slightly zeros the red. But the whole thing is about China. Now, the Hong Kong actually, as it said, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange has raising anti-competition rules on the tech companies, and US cautious investors invest in Chinese bets. Now, that actually sent the Chinese market this morning, and it was actually down by 2%. So there's two trends on the Australian dollars. One is about the Chinese. Also, earlier the week, I think was down this news came, and also the Reserve Bank has to actually continue the tapering. Now there is news actually made that pressure on the Australian dollar and other Canadian dollar and dollar. That is to do with the US economy. Now there is retail sales that will be announced. I will not do that because for life. But that news will come out later. Now, based on that, the retail sales that will be out at 2:30. Now there is a bit story when it gets to the retail sales. Now you must know, in the retail sales actually shows a positive number that might actually push the Reserve Bank, apply actually more pressure on the Reserve Bank to start to taper, because that taper word was coming, is actually basically becoming very aggressively yesterday and this morning, and it looks like the market is preparing for a taper. Now, if the retail sales also come positive out, then you might expect that the Reserve Bank the Federal Reserve Bank will also start to taper. But there's something very important that I need to show you, and this has to do with the credit. Now, for 2 consecutive months now, that was last month, it was about 36 billion. That was now, the credit was rising, and then, not last month, the previous month. And then the statistics of this month came out, which shows a 37 billion increase, so it's even better than last year. Better than last month. So the credit is actually pushing I would say, the spending, or people still continue to take out credit aggressively. Not 2 billion or so, it's like 37 billion. So they're taking credit quite aggressively, and that could actually, high possibility that retail sales could be positive, because if you look at last month, retail sales were also up, and also credit were also quite up aggressively. This month, the story is exactly the same. So the possibility that we might see a positive retail sales coming at 2:30 looks highly possible. So that is actually where you need to look at this later, is at 2:30 South African time. That is where the retail sales news will come out. So please, you have to be very careful there, because that will push pressure on the Federal Reserve to act. And with that story there, with the retail sales, I think we might see, or the possibility of seeing a positive retail sales looks highly likely. Now, that is my analysis on the retail sales. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show, and all the best with the interest rates for tomorrow. And please don't forget to subscribe on the link below so that you can get your free classes. And don't forget also to subscribe for my YouTube page And always keep your comments and likes alive on the show. Thanks a lot, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock again. Bye bye.